Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 21 minutes after 7 o'clock, and joining us in studio this morning from the Walker Aviation Museum, Robert Sherman back with us. Good morning.
Good morning. Happy Election Day.
Happy Election Day to you. I hope, I know you already took care of business. So
I took care of business a few days ago, but
good for you. If I was more astute, I would have done the same thing. I just didn't get around to doing it. So today's the day.
Today's the day, right?
I used to be kind of in that mindset where when early voting first started, I was kind of like, no, election should be on election day. You know, that's kind of, and there is still a bit of me in the back of my head that feels that, but I'm also a man of convenience, and I do appreciate the fact that you can go and vote, weeks ahead of the day. If that Tuesday doesn't work out, you've got a month ahead of time to basically get it done.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. For folks that aren't familiar, Robert joins us here once a month, and we talk about the Walker Aviation Museum, which is located inside the air terminal at the Roswell Air Industrial Center. That used to be, for folks that are new to the area or do not know, that whole area, the south end of town at one time was an Air Force base, Walker Air Force Base, Roswell Army Airfield before that. And so the museum at the airport is something that we use to pay homage to the Roswell Army Airfield, Walker Air Force Base, and also talking about Roswell and this area's history during the Cold War as well, too.
Roswell used to be a lot noisier place.
It did.
B-52s and B-47s and B-36s and KC-90s, whatever.
Yeah, I imagine you think of any bomber that ran during World War II in that area, odds are pretty good that model of aircraft spent some time in Roswell.
Or the Cold War.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, up until 67.
Yeah,
right.
until 67. Yeah, absolutely. So,
yeah,
definitely. Of course, right now is, I know last time we talked to you guys, were doing some openings around the flight schedule there at the museum.
Matter of fact, we could jump into that. Couple things I beat myself up when I left last month, and I apologize to everybody, is a couple things. One is how to get a hold of us. You can go to wafbmuseum.org, and there's some newsletters and publication displays and history and other stuff. And also, we now have an email, walkeramuseum@gmail.com.
Okay.
Instead of aviation, we just shorten it up by saying Walker.
Use the middle initial.
With the letter A and then museum, all one word, all one continuous thing. Also, I reluctantly, but I'll give out my phone number. But if we talk about the student orientation stuff that we have going, I would very much like to have people contact us if you have some possible, groups of kids that can come out and see us. But you're going to have to text me, because if it doesn't show up on my 400 or 500 names I have in my phone, I don't answer. I just let you go to voicemail. But if you just text me at this area code, 575, at 420, that's a pretty common cell phone number.
Yeah. 420,
and then the number 3789. So it's not too hard to remember. If you can remember 3 and then 789 with a prefix of 420.
Gotcha.
Just text me that. Say, hey, we got a group of 13 to 18-year-old students, whether it's a church group or whatever. We'll talk about it in a minute. But I'll be very happy to try to coordinate and get the kids in there. We'd like to get kids in a group of 8 to 12 for about 2 hours at least. And
they kind of learn, it's STEM-related stuff, so they learn like career fields, things as part of it.
Yep.
Part of it's learning the history, learning about aircraft and things, and then even opportunities for some of these kids to check out simulators. And like if you have any youth with aspirations of maybe becoming pilots someday,
right,
they can actually, in theory, start some of that training right now by learning the simulator, getting some seat time in that thing, and as you and I know you guys kind of almost do like a library card system for the folks.
Right. Once they've been through that orientation on the flight simulator, and we give them a little card that has a picture of a cockpit on it. It's like a Cessna 172 cockpit. But anyway, On the back it says, "I'm an Edustation pilot." That's the name of our simulators.
Okay.
And with a number that we enter in a roster, and they just bring that in, flash that card, and we know that they've already been oriented. They can go back, and we'll let them use the simulator
Sure.
rather than. It's not really a toy for people to just walk in off the street and start fiddling with, because it's kind of complicated and pretty expensive. And thanks to that, by the way, we wouldn't have those if it wasn't for Excel Energy Foundation. So
Yeah, they did as they do each.
a little grant there that enabled us to get those simulators. So that was really good.
That's awesome, and we do appreciate what they do here. But yeah, this in theory, folks can, in essence, start their progress towards getting a pilot's license and getting some of the, because once you get that simulator time, that's all training hours and flying hours, and to when you start taking your formal classes and stuff, some of that that fills the logbook and starts your training towards your completion there. So.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, kind of jumping ahead of ourselves, but anyway, one of the things that we do when they leave, we give them a list of. They've already, seen a bunch of videos. And we give them a list of those same videos highlighted or bolded, but a list of additional videos they may want to watch as far as careers go.
Okay.
And then if they're really interested in being a pilot or, flying, we give them a list of about, I think it's almost 30 YouTube videos that run about 12 hours long that is really totally professional pilot training.
Okay.
I mean, it goes into... like there's an hour spent on weather.
Oh, wow.
An hour spent on instruments. It's just in 3 20-minute videos. But that's for people that are, you watch this 12 hours of stuff and you can walk into an initial class on flying and you're going to be pretty far ahead of everybody else as far as the lingo and all the stuff that you need to know.
You kind of set yourself up nicely to succeed there.
And people are wondering, when are you open? Well, that's a good question because we're only open when I'm out there or Bob Donnell, or maybe one other volunteer. But we're looking for more people to join our group because right now we don't have any money. So we're just out there. And it's actually a nice thing to get out for me for a couple hours or maybe 3 hours a day.
Sure.
And what we do is and if you're out there and you want to see, well, when are you open? Well, we're open when about 2 hours prior to any midday departures.
Okay.
And you say, okay, well, when there's a midday departure? Well, sometimes they cancel and sometimes they don't.
Depending on the flight
so
schedule.
All you have to do is go to AA.com, which is AmericanAirlines.com, and the thing that pops up and it says flight status. You click on that, and then it says from. Well, where are you leaving from? Well, you put in Roswell. As you start to put Roswell, it'll come up the ROW, which is a skill, or you can just put in Roswell. And then to, where you're flying to, just probably the best one is put Dallas-Fort Worth, DFW, or just put Dallas, and it'll pop up as DFW. And also the other potential would be Phoenix in the future. But then it'll show you, okay, this is, you look down and you see something leaving like at 11:16 or maybe at 1:20 something. You can then check status, and it'll say on schedule, or it'll say canceled.
Gotcha.
And then, I'm sorry, that's kind of complicated, but anyway, that's the way you for sure know that we're open. And luckily, we're open kind of during the midday, and we do have people coming in that are just driving through town and want to come out to the museum. And I'm thinking, thank goodness we were open for them. Sure. I feel bad because I know some of them probably come late in the afternoon and we're not open, but we just don't have the people. And
of course, if you're there, come and you can have lunch or
there's the little cafeterias open.
Yeah, so if you get there and things aren't quite open yet, just sit down, have a meal, and relax, and then when it pops open, come on in. So
yeah, so that's kind of why we're looking for more volunteers or people to join our board of directors, so that you have maybe come out once a week for a couple hours. That's actually kind of fun because you meet nice folks and from all over. Wherever.
Sure.
Yeah.
I imagine you guys get, you probably come across, because I'm guessing once in a while you get people that come in, they're not from here, and then they kind of walk through it before, they kind of leave the airport or go about things that they're doing too.
Right,
So I imagine you get people from all over the country that pop in and sign into
the we do. Actually, all the way there was a family came in real nice, and I said, well, where are you guys from? We're from Mexico. I go, Monterey, I said, that's cool, great. So they were headed for Orlando, Florida, via Dallas, Fort Worth.
Okay.
But you have a lot of folks that are, involved with different businesses in town or just passing through and have background, or they come in and say, well, my dad was this or that. Matter of fact, recently we just flew a flag, which is Juliana Halverson came out and took some pictures. And
we shared it on the Facebook there.
Yeah. Okay. So Clifford Ray Thrasher was assigned to the 686 radar group, and that's on page 8 of Wikipedia under Walker Air Force. You can look up Walker Air Force Base, and it's about 10 pages of stuff, but on page 8, there's about half of the page deals with the 686 radar group. But anyway, he was out here, and his wife, he passed away, but his wife and his son really would like to fly a flag. They put a flag out here, and we flew the flag for them and then shipped it back to them.
Oh, nice.
And then we have another gentleman that's sending us a flag, and I'm thinking, well, this could get out of hand.
But it's a cool thing.
Yeah, it's a cool thing. We put the flag up, and then we took a few pictures, and so that...
hopefully some of those families come out here and visit.
Yeah, he plans on coming out eventually.
Good.
Yeah. He's from Tennessee.
Okay.
So there you go. So,
And his father was stationed here?
yeah, he's stationed at the 686 radar group.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So...
I mean, because you think of so many men and women that came through here, either working the base or as a trainee.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's probably thousands and thousands of people that connect to Roswell Armory Airfield, Walker Air Force Base here. Either coming through as a trainee or being stationed here in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. It's pretty cool. So
before we go much further, and sometimes I like to mention it first and last, but we already mentioned that XL Energy has helped us out a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Roswell Toyota in the past, Pioneer Bank, Featherstone Development, Dr. Phil Cathy, Dr. Paul Engstrom, Lloyd Hughes, Glenn Furniture, giving us some furniture. Aerosol in the past had been a big supporter. So what we're going to do this year, since basically the only 2-3 people that aren't working full-time that could work on the golf tournament are trying to man the museum.
I know you guys weren't going to do
So we decided that golf is not going to work for us right now. We're just going to maybe go out and try to get people, a group of folks or companies to provide some support. So
Sure.
on a monthly basis, we can keep our doors open, and we'll put up some nice signs that give them some good marketing. And we'd mention their names here and
Absolutely.
the radio, but also would have the signs when they come in that say, thanks to so-and-so, we're open, and then have another sign that says these are the people that have helped us in the past, so that they always have their name out there kind of
Sure.
where people can see.
Yeah, absolutely. And folks can donate if I know Robert mentioned the website earlier here, but if you go to www.wafbmuseum.org, you can go there, and there's a donate now button if you'd like to make a personal donation to the Walker Air Force Base Museum. That's a great way to contribute there. Another quick, easy way, if you want to help out, is the Walker Aviation Museum participates in the Amazon Smiles program, and you'll find the link there on the website once again. Basically, if you go through that portal, when you go shop for your Amazon stuff, every time you go through that portal and buy things through Amazon, a percentage of the amount of money that you spent they'll pay to the Walker Aviation Museum. It doesn't cost you any extra. It's the same price you would have bought your whatever you buy on Amazon with. But going through that portal, now Amazon says, oh, you spent $100. We'll give a couple pennies off of that to the Walker Aviation Museum. And you get enough people that do that, next thing you know, you guys get a nice little check each month from Amazon just for people shopping through there. So that's another little way you can help out too. But definitely, if you, in the meantime, you're saying, oh, well, normally I golf, but since I'm not golfing this year, I'll just donate my fees for golf through the museum website. That'd be a great way to help out this year if you want to continue to do that. And say, oh, I always golf in that tournament because I love what they do. Well, maybe make a donation through the website instead, or whatever the cost would have been for you to play in the tournament. Donate that, and that'd be a great help to the museum as well. So
yeah, we have a membership thing in the website, and I was kind of like wondering, okay, so you're a member. What does that do for you? Well, we don't charge anything to get in the museum, and a lot of people kind of hesitate to want to walk in, like can I come in? Do I need to always use that? Come on in, you know.
Sure.
Probably need to put a big sign in.
What's
Come
my
on
commitment here if I walk through the crosses threshold?
Yeah, and we've got now 2 touchscreen computers that are on, and you can walk in, and we have a nice sign that Southwest Printers put together for us that kind of describes what it is, and you touch the screen, and you get a 2-minute, pictures and a verbal history of the Atlas missile, and you touch the other screen, you get a 2-minute picture and verbal history of the Walker Air Force
Cool.
base, so that's one thing. And then the big computer screen that we have that we show the kids on different careers I'll talk about in a second, that's always running and either talking about the history of the B-52, B-36, B-29, and some other things that have some really interesting stuff in it. And we have a bunch of chairs there, so if you're sitting there waiting for your airline and you want to wait to go check in your baggage rather than just sitting out, say, in the restaurant area, you could come on in and just sit there and watch a bit of the video. And if you had something particular you wanted to watch, you could come up and say, you got anything on this and whatever, and I'll just go up there on YouTube. We got a whole list of aircraft stuff, and we just click on there and you could watch that.
So, yeah, there's a whole library of things that you want to check out. Very cool.
So can I run through a quick scenario?
Absolutely.
Okay, so all you folks out there, all you kids, so if you're 13 to 18, I want you to listen carefully and go talk to your teacher, your mother, or your father, or your church member, or your Girl Scout, Boy Scout leader, and tell them, hey, let's go out to the Walker Museum.
Okay.
And that's what we're going to do. Okay. So kids, we try to get groups of 8 to 12 for 2 hours. Okay. And that's because we divide them up, and we only have 2 flight simulators. So if you end up with 30 people out there, it's just, you can't, it doesn't work.
A lot of standing around and waiting.
Yeah. And it can't. So you walk in, we give you a short history of the Walker and the Atlas missile with those touch screens, and also some other quick history of the Walker Museum. And then we give them about a 10-minute video briefing on the flight simulator and how it works. It's from Jay Liboff. He's out in California. He's a designer of the system. And these things can fly, well, they're going to fly a 172, but it'll fly about 50 different aircraft and land at any place you want to in the world. So you get a pilot that walks in and he says, oh, okay. I said, we have 172 there, and you can see that. And I said, well, you could also select F-22 Raptor and land at Istanbul, Turkey at 9 o'clock at night, So you select the time, you can select the location, and it's a Lockheed software that's really accurate worldwide as far as different things. Okay, so then after the 10-minute video, students break into 2 groups, and 4 to 6 students proceed to the 2 flight simulators where a couple of our staff will guide them through the aircraft taxiing, maybe aircraft takeoff and a flight, some type of flight scenario. And this lasts for about 40 minutes. So that's why we go with 8 to 12, because then you have 2 on each simulator or 3.
Okay.
for 40 minutes. So if you end up too many people, you just don't have enough time on there. Then the other second group of 4 to 6 students are seated in front of a large computer screen and are given 3 the 7-minute minute videos. So we have 11 videos that we show them. The first one is on developing a Venn diagram. It's called No Regrets on How to Choose a College Major. So you get a middle school student in, and that way it gives them some ideas of what he may want to focus on a little bit as he gets in high school, or if he's a high schooler getting ready to go to college, kind of talks about, what you're good at and what people will pay you for and what you're passionate about.
Okay.
And then the middle there is that what your good career would be if you're passionate about that. Then the next would be science, technology, and math, a STEM overview video. And then we have careers in aviation video. Eastern New Mexico Roswell Aviation Maintenance Technician Program. We got that video from them, from Eastern New Mexico University Roswell. A day in the life of a wind turbine engineer. People always like that one. Crumlin Auto Group and Eastern New Mexico University Roswell Auto Mechanic Program. We got a nice little video from them.
Okay.
Energy careers, energy cluster, and another one is oil well workers career video. What does a registered nurse do? Then another one's architectural engineering versus architecture. What's the difference? And then so you want to be a physician assistant. So anyway, those are just 10 little shotgun things of different things they look at, and they're all done differently, but 3 to 7 minutes long. And by that time they get through with that, then they go over and fly the flight simulators.
Okay.
Or the group that was flying the flight simulators come back and do that. So basically,
cool.
That's what we do.
And I imagine too, if parents and stuff want to check out some of these videos as well, just give them a call, come on
Oh,
by
yeah.
and say,
Oh.
hey, yeah, I'd love to see some of this.
And a side note to that is when they leave, give them that list of the videos that they watch or could watch, and then we give them a list of STEM careers that they can go home and look those names up on YouTube.
Sure.
And then if you're interested in aviation, we give them that list of 30 or so professional classes that they can find on YouTube.
So if they want to pursue their own
Right.
training and formal education on this, here's the path to do that.
Yeah. So
Very
basically, again, if you want to get a hold of me and try to set up a class, 575-420-3789.
Very good.
And then text me. Don't try to call me. Just text me, and I'll get back to you, and we'll set up something with your school group. And who do we do with? We're coordinating already with Roswell Independent School District. Ruben Bolaños, you know him?
I sure
Great
do.
guy. Great guy. STEM.
Absolutely.
He's the STEM coordinator. Sidney Gutierrez Charter School. We've gone to Gateway School, All Saints Catholic School, the Stearns Home, Civil Air Patrol, working with Experimental Aircraft Association, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, New Mexico Youth Challenge. Definitely, that's a good group. We're going to try to hopefully get in there. Local churches and their youth groups, the Eastern New Mexico University Roswell STEM Department, and also nearby towns. If you're in Dexter, Hagerman, Artesia, give us a call, and we'll set up something for you guys.
Very good. Excellent. So definitely come check it out. Of course, go to the website, wafbmuseum.org.
There you go.
You could do a little research there about the museum. Like we said, if you'd like to serve and volunteer, always looking for volunteers to serve as docents, to serve on the board.
Boy, is that the truth. We're really looking for people.
If you would love to, like I said, it's kind of a couple-man show right now. So if you'd like to help Bob and Robert here and the rest of the folks do more stuff and serve on the board, or hey, you're kind of like, you know what, I'm retired. I'd love to spend a few hours keeping the museum open during the days for folks to come by and stuff. Love to have you do that. If you're interested in looking for something like that, reach out. It kind of pre-COVID, we had some great folks that were doing that and stuff, and then unfortunately life happens and they moved away and things. So some of your stalwart volunteers no longer live in the area here. But so if there's folks listening, would love, maybe you're retired or maybe independently wealthy and you get whatever it is, but you got time during the day and you're like, you know what, I'd love to do this and you love history or maybe you got family that has a connection to Walker, whatever it is, but we'd love to have you be a part of it.
Yeah, and we got some STEM items. I'd like to get more, but we have a bicycle that Ron Lynch put together for us. XL Energy purchased the bike, but bicycle that generates electricity. You get on it and you crank it away. It makes a lot of noise, but it lights up the light and the fan comes on. And then next to that, we got a Jacob's ladder, which you push the switch down and a 10,000 volt generator. The lightning goes up these two bars.
Yeah, it's different from the movie from the 80s or whatever that was.
Old aircraft navigation items, slide rule, parachutes, and stuff like that. Professional weather instruments that Steve Griffith gave us. He was a U.S. Navy weather specialist for many years. So we got that up. And so anyway, that's kind of what we're doing.
Good deal.
What are we doing for time? Do we need
We got a couple minutes here if you've got some more stuff.
couple minutes?
Yeah.
Kind of run through some history, and then we can say, okay, stop.
Yeah, we got about 5 minutes worth of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
For those out there that not too familiar with exactly what was going on in Roswell, war was looming in Europe, and the United States decided to train 30,000 more pilots. Then attack on Pearl Harbor, December 7, 1941. Roswell was selected as one of the new pilot training bases in 1941. A $9 million construction started in February of 42 on 4,624 acres provided by David Chester, a local rancher. And the first class of 146 students at Roswell Army Airfield on June 1st, 1942 was a flight training base. That was at the end of the war, at World War II, there was a total of 7 two-engine flying training squadrons and 5 bombardier training squadrons and 1 specialized B-29 squadron. And a total of 14,000 students graduated from Roswell Army Airfield between 1942 and 1945.
Wow.
So there was a lot of stuff. That's why a lot of these ranches have these big old heavy concrete bombs laying out there where they practice bombing.
Yeah,
and
those
stuff.
all old ranges.
Because you had, 5 squadrons of bombardier training going on.
Yeah. Even to this day, New Mexico has quite a bit of land that's reserved for bomb ranges. That's even that supported, Holloman, of course, our Air Force bases, but I'm sure there's other military craft in neighboring states that fly over and use them for practice as well, too.
Yeah.
So.
At peak strength in World War II, the Roswell Army Airfield had about 8,616 personnel assigned. September 1942 through April 43 had 1,000 glider pilots served as a glider replacement pool for the Roswell. Were trained here. We had 42 Chinese students came in to fly and train on the B-25.
Interesting.
In August 6, 1945, the 509th Composite Group B-29 Enola Gay, dropped the bomb on Hiroshima, and he returned to Roswell.
Now that aircraft sits in the Air and Space Museum Annex in D.C. or Virginia, actually.
And then on April 9th, the 509th Composite Group B-29 boxcar, piloted by Major Charles Sweeney, dropped the plutonium bomb on Nagasaki, which was actually a backup target for Kokura, which was a primary target. And there was kind of something mixed up on that because the Great Artiste was supposed to drop the bomb, but they moved it up real quick. So
they moved crews, right?
They just moved the crew.
Yeah.
They just moved the.
So the crew was from the Great Artiste.
Great Artiste crew flew boxcar, and the boxcar flew Great Artiste, which was kind of like a photo, documentary aircraft dropping that bomb.
That's all right. I'm sure some of the boxcar crew told the ladies they were on the other plane.
Yeah.
And vice versa.
So then all that, we moved to Roswell. And then Strategic Air Command was activated as a retaliatory bombardment organization in the Air Force in 1946. But right at around 46, Roswell was primary and about the only atomic capable, bomber base initially. And then it spread out.
Sure. As the Cold War advanced.
In summer 46, the Roswell Army Airfield participated in a lot of atomic test missions in the Marshall Islands. I've talked about that in past programs. Then you had the UFO incident occurred in July 47. Anyway, U.S. Army Air Corps became United States Air Force in September of 1947.
Mm-hmm.
And General Walker was a native of northern New Mexico, and he was killed in a B-17 named San Antonio Rose during a bombing mission over Papua New Guinea on February 5th, 1943, which is just about a month before I was born. And he was awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor by Franklin D. Roosevelt. But one of the major things that sometimes get passed up on what he did, he was one of 4 officers that devised the Air War Plans Division-1, a blueprint for imminent strategic air war against Germany in World War II.
So he was one of the masterminds to the air campaign on the German theater.
Yeah. And he wasn't supposed to be flying because MacArthur told him, no, you stay back, But he was the kind of a guy, I'm going to be flying with my guys if they're on these bombing missions.
Yeah, brigadier generals aren't supposed to be leading missions on aircraft. They're supposed to be in the base, calling shots from the command post there.
Yeah, but he said, no, I'm not a sit back guy. I'm going to get up there and do it.
Yeah, they send the lieutenants and captains up in the planes.
Yeah. And during the Cuban Missile Crisis of October 16th to 28th, 1962, all of the Atlas missiles were up and operational, and besides being an atomic base. So this was kind of a primary target and for the bad guys, because we had, all kinds of weapons around Roswell, plus the bomber base here.
Yeah.
And that's when quite a few people in town, there's some history stuff on that. I could go in later, built some little, and they built Goddard as a bomb underground thing because of potential. But then about that time, the base closed. By the time they were building that simultaneously, so.
Well, even those
people say, well, why in the heck is Goddard underground? Well, if you had been there at the time, you'd understand.
Well, in my high school in Maryland was one of those schools the same way. So half of our school was a basement underground, and it was a fallout shelter.
Yeah.
So for that very same reason, it's that was you see that smattered all over the country. Any 50s, 60s era schools and things that are still around today. That's not uncommon.
And then, of course, in 65, the Atlas was closed. That's because there's a liquid fuel. They actually had 3 missiles blow up during a refueling, and no one was killed, luckily, and no weapons were on at the time.
Fortunately, they're well designed so that the fuel part, when it goes up, is designed not to cook off the nuke part.
Right.
That's by design, so it's a
So
fail-safe.
by that time, they were getting the solid fuel rockets like the Minuteman missiles and stuff. So they shut that down, and that was all those missile stuff was moved further north. And so anyway, that's kind of quick summary. There's some more stuff that you can hear if you come out to the base.
Yeah, absolutely. Please come see the museum here. The roles that this community served during World War II and the Cold War era are very significant and pretty interesting. And a trip out to the museum, learning about some of this stuff, seeing some of the history, some of the people that called this place home during that time, and then like Robert mentioned earlier for the youth things. This STEM side, getting kids into science, math, engineering, and things. Maybe a few pilots even out of this stuff. But we want to definitely encourage kids to come out, encourage families to come and see this stuff and understand the history that's right here in your own backyard too. That's something.
Yeah, because I was hearing, and this may not be accurate, but someone was saying that if you look at all the aircraft mechanics scattered around the United States, like the average age is 58 years old.
Oh wow!
And but there's a whole bunch of aircraft mechanics that are going to be retiring here in the next few years, and there's all kinds of good, high-paying jobs available if you get trained for that.
I got a funny feeling a majority of those people come from military backgrounds too, because you can go.
Yeah, because you already had been doing that, and you just go into.
You join the military and you go in as a crew chief or something. They kind of give you all that training, and then you get out and you basically take a test for your civilian license version, and you're off. The oyster's your world with some of these career opportunities and things. So.
Yeah. Now, Bob Donnell, he was 6 years in the Army. His dad was a B-29 pilot in World War II, and he was flying out of Walker at one time. My dad was a B-29 crew chief during World War II. That's why I was born in Kansas.
Okay.
So I always kind of laugh at people say, were you born in Roswell? I said, no, I was conceived in Roswell. But I was born in Kansas because my dad was fighting the war in South Pacific. But anyway, that's a kind of... background that, and I was in the Air Force 30 years, but then came back to Roswell because that's kind of where I grew up. And anyway, there you go.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Appreciate it as always. WAFBmuseum.org is the website to learn more. And like I said, AA.com if you want to see the flight schedule and find out what times, like I said, the museum's open around the flight schedule there when the flight's open.
And be sure to go vote.
That's right. Today is that day.
Okay.
Vote. Go to one of the 6 locations and vote. Well, thank you, sir. We'll see you next time.
Thank you. Thank you, Mike.
Anytime. It is 7:50.